All right, everybody. I wanted to do a video on Fibonacci because Fibonacci is how I find some of my price targets, my levels that I start looking to trim depending on how things are playing out. Sometimes I go by percentages, sometimes I go by Fibonacci. I don't usually ever put them up and when I call things out, but that's just my bad. I need to start getting better so that way you guys know when to start taking profits or wondering how far can this go because some people say, well, after it reaches all-time highs, there is no more levels, and that is completely false. There are more levels, and that's what Fibonacci is all about. I just have a hard time accepting sometimes that a stock can continue to go as far as I have, kind of like MU. I knew we were going to run to 500 with no problem. I figured that was coming, but to be where we're at now, if it's legit, it's legit. It just blows my mind. So with that being said, Fibonacci is based on math, and probably a lot of you don't know this. It's also based on human statistics. That's where some of the math comes from. It gives you levels that statistically a human would react at this level to close their trade, take profit, or buy into a specific stock at a specific level. So anyway, with that being said, you can do the daily. You can search up here, indicators under technicals and see what there are auto fib. I don't like those. Those are set up, but I like over here. This is your third one down in this because you have your Gann, box, square fan. That's something to look into. Read about Gann strategy. Using those anyway. I like trend-based fib extension to find out where my levels would be. So I'm going to use XIB that I called out. And what you basically want, because if I do it there, I've got it back off. Basically, and let's do this. You have to do your low point, your high point, and then your pullback point. And when you're talking bullish, you're going to do it in your bullish, scenario. So we're going to do with a low, a high, and then our pullback. This one's kind of tough because where does the rally start? Where does the rally typically end? Since it's still rallying, but we went through two bull flags here, if you will, and we're still moving. I was figuring 145, which is what I was in. I called it at 150 and cashed out. The biggest reason I let emotions get me on this one because I'm not a fan of healthcare stocks. They just have been losers for me, but it's hard to not get into something, even healthcare, when you see it getting ready to move. All right, with that being said, here is, I'm on the daily, so I'll do the fib extension on the daily, and I am going to start way back here. I'll call this the beginning of the trend. Actually, we'll go down here since that actually was lower than that point. So trend-based fib extension there, and I'll take my high point and we'll go here, and then our low point over here. Now I'm just going to slide this over so you can see the numbers a little better, and then we're going to go over my settings. So to me, there's only several numbers that are important. So I keep 0. I do not keep this. 0.382, 0.236. I like the 0.5. Don't need a 0.786. 0.618. The 1. 1.618. We don't need the 1.27 or the 1.42. We'll keep 2 because I'm actually thinking 165. So that level is just based on me alone. All right, so there really is no right or wrong, if you will. I guess it depends. You don't want to use trend-based fib extension for looking for your pullbacks, and you don't want to use your oh my God, what's it called? Fib retracement. Thank you. When you're looking at how far we're going, so that is wrong. You just basically swing high, swing low. I could move this to here, and different points, and they're still going to come out pretty much the same. So with that being said, your point 0.5, 0.618 are your golden zones. Okay, usually when they pop into that, then they take off from there. Uh, One, you can use these as potential support and resistance. But these are your levels where people, I'm looking for possibly a pullback to the 618 right here when we hit that, and then a drop back before we shoot back up. I actually think we could see 165 out of this at some point. So I got out, like I said. Now, if I was still in this, I would have definitely started trimming at the 150 area. And if you go back into your settings, what am I looking for? So we're at the 1, there's your 2 point, there you go, your 2.150 area. Um, and then I lost my track. I just got somebody asked me a question from something else. Anyway, how much time I got here? 6 minutes. Okay. So anyway, that's I don't have that up there, but that's where I would start trimming. I think by that point I was at 30% anyway. But and then I would trim again if we hit this 157 mark, and then wait and see on a pullback. But by this point, my mental stop loss would have been at about 150. Either way, because I got in at 141, it hit my strike at 145. And of course, once you hit your strike and you have multiple contracts, that you immediately start taking profit. You shouldn't be waiting for a percentage or a level. Take profit. It's a given. And if you're not, that's on you. Okay, so basically that's it for that, I believe. I hope that covers. But that's where I get my price targets, and I need to start mentioning or leaving it up so you can see for yourself. But uh, depending on where you get in, what price you get in, and your fib levels. Now this is just extension. Now we can do a retracement real quick. If this will start to retrace, basically you start from your high and go down to your low. So let's say this is where it ends tomorrow. It stops and starts pulling back big time. There is your levels. I'm slide over there so you can see your numbers. Now settings for my retracement, and it's also good too. You can compare your lines here and see, pick up. Oh yeah, this is support. I see that. Oh, this was resistance back here. So that gives you an idea of where it's going to pull back to, and what numbers to base off of. If this were to pull back tomorrow, and as I suspect, because money is moving, this has some positive gamma. Let me get this over on top. Doesn't have to be perfect, close enough, I guess. So you know what, we'll go with this one here just for the hell of it. We were to pull back, then I would expect, like I said, around the 144 area, 145 maybe, not that low, 148. Sorry, what am I thinking? That's 156 for top. About the 150, 148 area for a pullback, and then another step back up to the 165 level. But that's basically how you do it. You can do it on the daily. You can do your fib extensions, and look at that. That is a 2-hour perfect stairway. Friday ended up a little different. We had some solids up, a solid move down, and a solid move back up. Fib extension on the 2-hour. Let me do that. Now you can, once again, you're just picking your points. Fib extension, retracement, trend base. So we'll start down here low. We'll take it this to the high here, this high. Oops, and I goofed it there. Yeah, hold on. Try that one more time. Swing low, swing high. And did I do it again? No, we're going to have to do it closer because I'm goofing this one up. So let's say I really don't have a low. This one just seems more, but it's not taking us. So maybe this is not a good time frame to do this on. Stick with the daily. To be honest with you, never really done. I see there's no real low here to go. You don't go back. Yeah, you could just keep it that. So and you get about the same numbers: 66, 164, 157. So that could track. That could work. Anyway, you get the idea. You can, like I said, indicators, technicals, auto fib extension, put that up, and that on the 2 hour went from there to there. Okay, yeah, you could go by that. I guess that would work too. Um, TradingView did it, so it's got to be okay, right? Then you just go through, and for me personally, though, this is going to be settings are going to be in here in my auto fib. Yep, settings. Yeah, inputs. I would change inputs. Definitely get rid of some of that noise in there. But that's how you do it. You can do theirs. I don't prefer. I like doing my own. Um, I wouldn't have thought about doing that, but that would track. That makes sense. Okay, that's on my fib extension. Hopefully I can upload this too. I know I can do it to YouTube, but hopefully I wanted to talk about Microsoft and those other ones I was calling out puts on. All right, we'll get that into another video. Hope this works out. Enjoy.